Good afternoon, badass artists. I'm Yellow Yondo. Today we are in Toys in the Attic. We have been working on this cute little doll, and we finished her hair. We used Crayola Colors of the World on her hair and also on her hat. I was looking at it and I'm not quite happy with how dark the hat is. I've been using the Black Widow Skintone pencils today. This is the dark set. It's got a lot of really dark, kind of dark juicy colors in here. So I'm gonna grab a couple of these and just darken up some of these areas. Let me zoom in just a little bit. I've got stuff everywhere. You guys bear with me. These are made by Black Widow, and they have two skin tone sets. The one I'm using, the one I just showed you, is the dark. This one is the lighter skin tones. I'll show you that one too. I like these. You can get a lot of different skin tones colored with those two sets. I will link them in the description, and you can do a lot more with them, obviously, than just skin. They're good for trees and stones and baskets and, you know, anything that requires some deeper browns, some contours. So I just wanted to darken this area of the brim of her hat up and give it some texture, just sort of making it look a little more woven, a little more straw-like. Just giving it some texture here. So while I do this, everybody get comfortable. Grab a snack, some coffee or some tea. And just kind of going around this little flower area here. Not doing a lot with that yet. Now also in this set, there is a deep, kind of a russet color. It is called Cinnamon. The one that I just used is called Mud, but this one's called Cinnamon. And I'm gonna run just a bit. Oh, broke the tip. Jumped like I always do. And deepen this up as well. Just giving this a little bit more contrast. Shadowy. It's going to make it look shinier. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Now I'm also going to I'm going to go back to this color called Chalk Tone. And I'm going to deepen up her eyebrows just a little bit. I'm just giving them little flecks, not overdoing it. I do just want to thicken them up a little bit, give them a little more definition. I'm going to do the same thing with her eyelashes. You just want to grab and flick. You don't want to overthink it. I'm going to do this on the bottom as well, just randomly. Now another thing that I'm going to do with her eyelashes, I'm going to take this color called Suede. It's kind of a whitish color. Oh, I broke the tip on that one too. This is not a good tip day. And I'm going to add some lighter lashes in there too, because this is some really dark grayscale in here around her eyes. And this will just give it a little bit of extra. You're going to be able to see these. It's going to look like the light is reflecting from her eyes pretty intensely. It's just going to give it that little bit of extra something. Okay, I think I'm done with that. Next, we're going to play with some NeoColors. Before I get them out, I found this. They are another watercolor crayon. I've only tried them once. They're called Scribble Sticks. They work exactly like the NeoColors and the Sargent pencils and the iCrayon. Some of the links, the other links that I've added in the descriptions. I've only, like I said, only used these once, and I found them to be a little bit hard, a little crumbly, so I was going to show you a trick on how to use those if you came across that problem with a watercolor crayon. Now first, I am just bumping the camera and shaking you guys and bouncing you around. I am sorry. Just going to bring you out a little bit here. I am using the Caran DAche NeoColors. This set was gifted to me, so I am incredibly grateful for that because they do tend to be on the pricier side. However, I'm going to put some links in the description to other watercolor crayons. I already mentioned a couple of the names. One is called iCrayon, one is called Sargent, one is called Mungio. They are great quality. They do essentially the exact same thing at a fraction of the cost. So I will put those links in the description. You don't have to have an expensive product to do what I'm doing here. This just happens to be a gift, and I do know there's a lot of you out there that have them, and I want to show you, how to use them. So I am using this little, it's kind of like a painter's palette. It's smooth on one side, and it's got a texture on the other. And what I'm doing is I'm going to, let me choose a color. How about we go sort of red. Let's do something in red. So you color on the palette instead of directly on the paper. Because I'm sure some of you who have these know, you color on the palette, and then when you wet it with the brush, you can't really get rid of all of those lines that you've made. You can still see where you put your initial color. So we're gonna do both. I'm gonna color in some places here where I want this color to go on her dress. So you can kind of see where, it has some I won't say streaks, but you know, you can see where you've laid it right down on the paper. And if it doesn't dissolve completely with your water and your brush, you kind of have a line there. So we're going to eliminate, you can eliminate that with this technique. So you just color on the palette. Now let me grab my paintbrush. And it's just a mop brush. There's nothing special about it. I got these off of Amazon. It's like a 2-brush set. I like it. It's held up very well. It hasn't lost bristles or its shape or anything. So, you know, for the price point that I got it, they're pretty inexpensive. It's done really well. So I will link these also. So we're gonna just go in with a damp brush. You don't need a lot of water. You really don't. The less water you can get away with, the more vibrant your color is going to be. So you see how it just kind of melts? It just sort of melts that crayon right into paint, right into like a watercolor paint. And you can pull it around, you can move it. Depending on, you know, the pigment and how far you've spread it on the page. But you can, you know, you can get some movement with that. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna finish adding what I did manually. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, like I said, a damp brush, don't need a lot. And we're gonna go over where we've drawn, and you see how that's just turning into paint? That's just turning into like a real thin watercolor paint. And you can go right back in and paint over, and you won't have any lines or streaks or any places that look like you actually used the crayon. It's just going to look like straight paint because, you know, basically that's what it is. So we're going to kind of use this technique to go around the rest of her dress in the shadowy parts. And we want to make the dress look kind of dirty, a little grubby. You know, we found her in the attic, so she's not perfect by any means. She's a little worn, a little weary. So we're just adding, you know, this darker color in the shadowy parts of the dress, and we're not giving it like a monochrome. It's not going to be completely red. We're going to go in with some other colors to give it that worn effect. Now remember, after you paint this, after you put this down, you can go over it with more crayon, with more paint. You can go over it with pencil. You can go over it with pastel. Once it dries, of course. And I do have a protective coating behind my page, so it doesn't mess up the picture behind it. You want to remember to do that. It's easy to forget. You get excited, you want to get started, you dive in, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, that water kind of makes its way through to the picture behind the one you're working on. So you just, you know, just put something behind there to kind of protect it. It can be a couple of sheets of plain paper. It can be anything. And we're kind of getting to the spot where we're going to switch colors. And the color we're going to switch to is more of a russety brown. This one is, let's see, what is this one? It's called Russet. The one that I was using before is Scarlet. We're going to do the same thing. Remember, we're trying to make this dress look kind of old and worn. So we're just going to scribble this on here. That's a little too wet. But we're going to add this in to the dress. You know, it's not as bright, vivid as it was when it was new. You can still tell the dress was red, but now you can definitely see its wear and tear. Now remember, you can come back with your pencils and add a great deal of brightness if you want to in certain spots where the dress has been protected, or you can make it look even more faded. But we are going to just kind of stick with this right now, let it dry. And don't be afraid to, you know, go over the color, you know, the red color. You're blending the two together. They'll accept each other. They'll just sort of work together. The paint will mix. Once the water touches it, it kind of activates it. Now I'm going to use, if I can find, I was going to use a cream color. Let me see if, I know this set has kind of a cream color in it. Yeah. I'm going to definitely use this. They're a little harder. They're a little crumblier is the word I want to use, but it's like chalkier maybe is a better word. They're not chalky, but they have a chalkier feel. They don't go down on the paper quite as smooth. But when you do it like this, you know, the paint, it mixes beautifully and you're able to kind of go in without any lines. Using that set of Scribble Sticks, you get a lot of lines if you go in freehanded just using the crayon. That's actually a really good flesh tone too. Okay, I'm gonna put those away. That was kind of nice that we had that color available. Let's see. Now I'm gonna take like a peach and just ever so slightly make some just little squiggles, nothing major, around her collar. That color is called salmon. And just kind of giving that, you know, creamy collar some wear and tear. And I think that just leaves us with the background. Since we have used kind of an orange and red, let's go with some, green and bluish green colors. This one is called Malachite Green. I'm gonna just go right around the outside of her shoulder area. That's where that border is. We'll fix that. I mean, one thing about these crayons, these water-soluble crayons, they blend into each other very well. Okay, after that one, I'm gonna take this one, which is called Emerald Green. And Emerald Green I might use just over here as a paint, just a pure paint. I'm gonna pull that malachite color back out too. Like I said, it doesn't take much, just a touch. And you can do this in any color. will blend together. And remember, where it looks dark and gray is just where your paper's wet. As it dries, it's going to be easier to see. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do the entire background or if I'm just going to go around the lower area of her body, like just her little dress and arms. Might just leave it like that. Of course, you can do whatever you like if you want to take the background all the way around. You are absolutely welcome to do that. You can use paint, you can use markers, of course you can use pencils. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and call her completed. I'm going to leave her eyes gray from the grayscale. We just added the eyelashes and the eyebrows. I think we are complete with her. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, I hope that you'll give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I hope you'll do so. That way you'll always know when I upload a new video. Trying to get at least one out every week, and hopefully more soon in the weeks to come. But anyway, I enjoyed my time with you this afternoon. I hope you did as well, and I will see you next time.